Yo, 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 what is going on? How's everybody doing? Thank y'all for tuning in to another Daily Fitness live stream show. Let's go. All right, so today we got a show lined up for you on a Saturday morning. I had to bust out the show for Saturday morning because normally your boy don't do shows on Saturdays, but today we is. But man, thank you for tuning in, man. I hope you're having a good Saturday. If your Saturday sucks, well,
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
I got shot.
But did you die?
long as you didn't die and you're still here and alive and able to make something happen, man, then be happy, be proud of yourself, and just make it change. Make sure you make the sacrifices in order to make something great happen in your life, because you can't do nothing in life without sacrifice. Let's go. With that being said, we are simultaneously streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, and Rumble. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. When you see that thumbs up hit your screen, go ahead and hit that like button. It's greatly appreciated that you see right there. We're also on Twitch, Kick, and Rumble, so give your boy a follow on one of those platforms. If you want to contribute to today's show, Cash App and Venmo right there. Cash App Daniel2888, Venmo Danny-Daniel-00. And with that being said, we just going to jump right into the show because I didn't plan on doing the show today, but I have to because there is how do I say this? There's once again, it sounds like some more bullshit is about to be produced in the air right in times for elections, of course. So you know, when every time an election has to come up, people people got to die. Whether usually it's black people, but for some reason this year white people are dying. B, you know, this time around we're doing something new. This time, well, not new. They're running the same game plan again, which is a virus which is coming around the corner. Or, you know, see some kind of, you know, hardship of economics that has to happen. It's the same playbook every single time, you know, so just understand what side of the fence you play on, and do understand that there are demons that are working against you in order for you to vote and set up all this shit, because I already showed you there's a Luciferian agenda that they're putting in place to basically conquer shit. And it's been going on since God knows when. It's just been something that's been going on for a long time. So with that being said, we are going to talk about the Nipah virus that they just put out into the atmosphere. Some more bullshit that I just wanted to put into place, so hopefully you can see what it is from a mile away, because it's the same playbook all over again. I've already showed you this a million times to show you, to get you to understand that, you know, they are the powers that be are basically trying to conquer and rule the world, which is old news. This ain't nothing new. I mean, this is a story as old as Adam. You know, Adam got conquered, and then the story goes on and on and on and on and on and on. I just want to bring it to you to show you that, hey, they're about to run the playbook again. A bunch of Democrats and old people and women are about to be fear mongering. A bunch of demons are about to, you know, get you know, cranked up and get a lot of money put in their back pocket, so Operation Playbook can take full effect. You know, they trying to basically alter your bloodline and get to your DNA, so therefore your bloodline gets tampered with, so therefore you have no connection to the source, which is the divine entity inside of you. So they not bullshitting. You may think they are, but they not. And yes, they are trying to get at you. Anyway, let's get straight to it, because I don't have time to waste today this morning. So with that being said, here we go. We're going to start off with this. We got this Nipah virus. As you can see, these clowns are already on it. I don't know how serious it is or whatnot, but I wouldn't put it past them, because there's a midterm elections coming up. So here it is. We have the Nipah virus right here, and all this is what you need to know about it. So as you can see on Google, they already got this stuff going on 1 hour ago, 1 day ago. Apparently it's out of India. So, you know, this is all this. What happens if you get Nipah virus? Around half the people who get severe Nipah virus infection die of it. Since when? The symptoms can vary in severities. It can cause pneumonia, just as COVID could, but the illness we worry most about is neurological symptoms, so make you go crazy. Nipah can cause, I don't know what that word is, a encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the brain. Jesus. So just remember, lately, they've been doing a number on women. Women have been getting their ass kicked by the system lately, but in their eyes, it looks like they're winning. You know, women and weak, limp-wristed men, I'll say that. They've been getting their ass kicked by the system, but it's been looking like they've been winning because of money. money makes it look like they're winning, but in reality, you're losing because you go to therapy and you have a legal drug dealer. Your legal drug dealer gives you all sorts of drugs and medications and stuff. Then you have kids. All right. Then on top of, if you have kids, people try to use their kids by sending them to a putting them on the spectrum. Now, sometimes your kid might be on the spectrum. Sometimes they don't be. You just be too lazy to let their asses go outside and run that shit off. But then you end up putting your kids on sedative drugs and medications for the people who don't put in the time with their kids or want to use their kids to get an SSI check. So then those kids get put on drugs and medications and stuff like that who really don't need it. Talking about the ones that don't need it. Then, you know, you have women with Plan Bs and abortions, and then they drink wine and liquor and alcohol on top of all these drinks, and men do it too, you know. And then some of the men get pressured into this by their wives or just they weak, and they get put on, you know, antidepressants and all these different medication and drugs. Then they go out and they drink or they have a shot or whatever, and we all know that any kind of liquor or alcohol intensifies the pills of whatever it is that you're taking. So you got all this stuff going on, plus people are going in and getting Botox and Traptox and all sorts of injections in their body and all this stuff like that. So all these things are just having a hell of an effect on people, and they may or may not believe it, but you have to think, you're injecting, you know, you're getting breast implants and BBLs and all this stuff. All these things you're just putting inside your body, inside your body, inside your body. And over time, I mean, it's going to kick your ass. At some point, it's going to kick your ass. Then, you know, you have, what else? You got the food that you eat. People don't like to cook anymore. There's not very many people that like to cook, or people don't even know how to cook because the family unit is so destroyed. So like cooking is probably damn near a lost art, or just some people are too lazy to cook. So people don't know how to cook. They rather have DoorDash and takeout. And, you know, God knows what's being put in all of these foods. We know over the years that food is just horrible. We know, well, not just horrible, but we know that fast food restaurants and chain restaurants, what they do to the food is horrible. Or if you get your food in those little black plastic containers and stuff like that, or you get plastic BPA and all that stuff in the plastic and all these things that just accumulate over time, and you intensify the effect with social media and prawn and all these different things. All this stuff adds up. But anyway, I'll say all that to say this. So they got this new virus coming out, and we're going to go ahead and watch some news clips because they are already on the news putting this bullshit out into the world. So let's go ahead and see 2 days ago what NBC has said about this Nipah virus and see how serious this shit is not. And then I'm going to go ahead and rebuttal all of this to give you a quick, friendly reminder of what it's really about. Because number one is elections coming up. So I don't know who's going to try to use this to their advantage. I don't know if Trump is going to use this to his advantage to try to get everybody to mask up or whatever, or is he going to combat it? Or if the Democrats are going to try to use this shit to their advantage and scare everybody again and trying to get everybody with a vaccine passport. Because, you know, China's been having facial recognition since like 2016 or something like that. So they've already had what is it called? A social credit score system put in place, and they've already had vaccine passports and stuff like that put in place. So I don't know which side is going to use this to their advantage, or both sides. They both might just be like, yeah, you know, Zika, Zipper, Nipah, whatever this shit is called, it's real. You know, you got to go get your vaccine passport or your vaccine stuff and get all this taken care of. So let's go ahead and take a look and see exactly about this Nipah virus outbreak that's supposed to be scaring people, but it's only going to scare people with probably weak immune systems, weak brains, and demons. That's probably who's going to affect the most. So if you don't take care of yourself, if you have a weak immune system, which is like a already underlying disease, or if you're just weak-minded, it's going to affect you the most. So here we go. Nipah virus outbreak concern. So here we go. Let me get this going.
Airports in Southeast Asia are now heightening their airport screenings. Raf Sanchez is following this from London for us. And Raf, what more do we know?
So, Tom, airports across the region are stepping up their screening for what's known as the Nipah virus. This is a far more deadly virus than COVID. It has a fatality rate of between 40 and 75%, according to the World Health Organization. Between 40 and 75%, according to the World Health Organization. Now, it's usually carried by fruit bats, and human-to-human transmission seems to be rare, but there is no vaccine at this point, which is why these two cases in India are being taken so seriously. The Indian Ministry of Health says it's been doing contact tracing and it believes the virus is contained. And the CDC says it is monitoring the situation and it stands ready to assist if needed. Tom.
We thank you for watching.
All right, here we go. So we have another bullshit virus. You heard it. 40 to 70% death rate. Oh boy. 40 to 70% death rate. Oh, it is so tragic. Oh, it is so bad. Oh, people are dying. Oh my gosh. Here we go again, once again. Now, I'm not going to sit here and downplay and say the strong flu 19 wasn't a bad thing, because it was. People were dying from it. But there was a reason for it. And then on the back end, hindsight 2020, we also had a bunch of fact findings that I'm going to show you here later on in the future that showed that the some of the stuff inside of that did have DNA altering effects as time proceeded and went on. They did find out some truth about that. But let's keep going to see how deep this Nipah virus goes, because you do got to look at this stuff, because anytime they put a virus out into effect, especially when it's close to election time, you know you got to be able to open your eyes and call bullshit when you see it. But here we go. We have a white woman here. Probably a liberal white woman, I would say. Probably one of the most dangerous species known to man in today's day and age. Let's see what she has to say about it.
Virus between humans, and it's often deadly. The two cases, this is a highly contagious virus between humans, and it's often deadly. The two cases of Nipah virus were detected in India, in the state of West Bengal, but there are concerns the outbreak could spread. The virus has a fatality rate of 40 to 75%, according to the World Health Organization. So it's deadlier than the COVID virus, and there's no vaccine for Nipah. So authorities in India are taking no chances. At the same time, several airports across Asia, in Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, they're taking steps to screen passengers for any symptoms. Nipah is a zoonotic virus that's transmitted from animals, usually fruit bats. It doesn't spread easily to humans, and it can also come from contaminated food. But when it does, it initially hits like the flu, then worsens, and experts say pneumonia and other respiratory symptoms can develop. But the most serious complication is encephalitis, or inflammation of the brain. The WHO says the fatality rate has a lot to do with the country's capacity to test, trace, and treat those infected.
The fatality rate has the capacity to deal with, to test, trace, and treat those infected. So let me just play that again. The World Health Organization says the fatality rate has a lot to do with the country's capacity to test, treat, trace, and treat those infected. So you really can't make this shit up.
And treat those infected. In India, authorities have quarantined nearly 200 people who may have come into contact with the two infected. It's the first time in nearly 20 years that India has had cases, but they believe the outbreak is now contained. Still, it's a situation that U.S. health officials are monitoring very closely. The CDC says they're ready to assist if needed.
Of course the CDC is ready to assist if needed. Of course they are. You know why? I'm going to show you why. CDC is, of course they're going to be ready to assist. CDC will hop in and give you, let me show you. And of course, a lot of you medical people who are modern medical people are going to disagree with me, but y'all can kiss my ass. Of course the CDC is going to be on top of this, because right here, the CDC tells you right here, CDC HIV. Let's go right here, CDC HIV. All right, for those of you who think opposite of me, shut up. So the CDC tells you that they can treat HIV. You should treat it as soon as possible, which I agree with. And HIV, HIV treatment will reduce the amount of HIV in the blood, which is a viral load. HIV treatment can make a viral load so low that the test can't be detected. So you have an undetectable viral load. So if you have HIV and if you have an undetectable viral load, check this out. You will not transmit HIV to others through sex. Having an undetectable viral load also reduces the risk of transmission through sharing drugs, injection equipment, and during pregnancy, labor, and delivery. So you can have HIV and the viral load will be so low that you can't trace it to other people. Believe that shit if you want to, but I'm just gonna say right here. All right, so let's continue on with some more of this Nipah virus, all right? And you know what's crazy is that when they come out with these stories, every time they come out with these stories, right? So check this out. They come out with these stories, and it's always the people who end up getting these viruses, right? The people get the viruses. She said it's a zootopic disease, so I guess it comes through animals. So it's rare that humans get it, but whenever humans do get it, it's really bad. It infects the brain, yada, yada, yada. Basically like the outbreak monkey all over again. But it's interesting that when these things happen, it's never like a politician got it, never like a rich elite person got it. And if they did, they probably wouldn't tell us. But it's always the people get it. So therefore, since you people are getting it, we need to give you a treatment for it. Never they get it. It's always the people get it. You know what I mean? Like politicians don't get it. And if they do get it, it's like after the fact, the people got it. So it's like the people gave it to the politicians. It's always a bunch of crock of shit, if you ask me. That's just me, you know what I mean? But I digress. But here we go. We're going to take a look at this. It's kind of hard to, when you look at stuff like this, it's kind of hard to see how it's quick to see how they have their stories lined up, because you see already we're seeing 40 to 70% fatality rate. Now, when I hopped on this, I had to jump on this real quick to see, and I want you to see something real quick. And look how immediate this is. It's really, really, really quick, and everybody's story is going to be the same about this, and how all these stories are already put together about this stuff in a short amount of time, a very short amount of time. I'll show you right here. So if you hop on YouTube, right here, so we got right here. Nipah virus, 11 hours ago, doctor explains. Is Nipah virus concerning right now? 2 days ago. Nipah outbreak updated 17 hours ago. What to know about Nipah 2 days ago. So right now, this thing is about 2 days old. Concerning virus, 1 day old. Who warned you about the new dangerous Nipah virus? 19 hours ago. U.S. health officials monitoring deadly virus 2 days ago. Everything is quick and new. Everything is right now. It's the crazy news story right now. So we're looking at this stuff. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a big deal, but like I say, we're right around the corner from a midterm election. So somebody has to use some fear mongering. Right now, we got what do we have going on? A crazy protest. And this time in a protest, which is rare, but like white people are dying. Now they throwing in a virus, and then we have what else do we have? The Somalis coming in doing the whole fraud thing. So we got fraud, we got violent protests, and now they're trying to stick in like a little virus in there. Now we're going to see if they can use it, because sometimes they'll try to throw something out there to feel it, to see if people will take it. So this might be something, or it might not. It just depends. And if they want it bad enough, they'll just shove the shit down your throat. All right, so let's see. Let's go on here. Let me go on and find another thing. So we'll watch this video real quick about the Nipah virus. So here we go. Another video to give us a little bit more education on Nipah. Here we go.
Thailand is among several Asian nations that have stepped up airport health screenings after India reported 2 cases of the deadly Nipah virus. But what is Nipah, and how concerned should people be? Nipah is a rare viral infection that comes mainly from fruit bats. It was first identified in Malaysia in the late 90s. Here's Paul Hunter, professor in medicine at Norwich Medical School in Britain.
Most transmission events are because of a contact either with an infected
They're piloting
animal
it a few years
or
ago.
with something that has been contaminated by fruit bats.
It can also spread from person to person, typically after close contact between the sick and their caregivers, though experts say that does not happen easily. Nipah can cause severe illness.
Like, who's around bats that's getting this? They always try to show you like a low third world country. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, like what was the reason that the strong flu 19 happened? I forget that. I forget the animal that it came from, whatever country that it came from. But the strong flu 19 came from somewhere else. And then they came later on and said the strong flu was like presented in like a lab or something, whatever. But now we got bats. So now we're saying bats, and then we're just showing images of people in India. We don't know why these people in India are walking around, right? Look. So first we have this image right here, right? They got this image right here. Now I want you to pay attention to this first. Pay attention to this. You got these people are standing here, right? They got their little bitty shower caps on. They got their mask on. Now look. They got quarantine officer, perfect view into the screen, right? It's perfect view for you to see in the screen. And then they start the thing off with China, Thailand. So you automatically assume that since these people look like that, they're from that country. And then it's like they set this up perfect. So they're not wearing their mask, but some of these people are. But just knowing Asian countries, people do wear masks for a reason, but we're not sure if this is the reason why they're walking around is because of we don't know. It's just a story that they put on top. I'm pretty sure these people don't even know that they're being a part of a Zika virus story. They're just putting it there to make this look like what it is. No, then they put a bat up here to say that the bats are the reason why this is going. Man, I don't believe any of this shit. Then you get the white man up here who's supposed to be educated and extremely genius and knowledgeable. Don't know who the fuck he is from Adam. And because he has on glasses, I mean, he doesn't even have a decent screen in the background. He just has his face plastered like a Zoom call where you can do like the little fake background in the back. He's talking. He's supposed to be somebody who's well versed or whatever, but you know he probably has on like a red thong with a black collar shirt up top. Who knows? You really don't know. You can only take this with a grain of salt.
From outbreak to outbreak, but is of the order of about 45 to 75% mortality rate.
Though Hunter points out that is based on identified infections. He says some people get no symptoms at all and may not be identified as infected. This means Nipah's actual death rate is likely to be lower. One concern is that the infection has an incubation period of 1 to 2 weeks.
And what this means is that it's actually very difficult to control at airports.
Like, who are you, bro? Like, seriously, like, who is this dude? Like, straight up, who is he? I gotta get him on the screen.
This means is that it's
like, who is he, bro? Like, what side do you play for, bro? Are you on Team God or are you on Team Satan? Like, that's the question that you gotta ask. Like, get straight to the point, bro. Like, what is your ties? Like, do you represent Team God or Team Satan? Let's just call a spade a spade. Like, get straight to the point. Are you pushing an agenda? Do you believe in nature or do you believe in man? Like, let's just call it what it is. I don't know who you are. Maybe you have a history or background or a pedigree. I don't know. I don't care. But the fact is, don't allow people to fearmonger you and to believe in a bunch of nonsense. Don't allow it, because the issue with this that I have is this: when they try to push a virus onto you, the thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to inject something into your bloodstream. That's my issue that I have with it. That's why I look at this crazy. Number one, there's a midterm elections coming up. We always have something when there's some kind of election going up. We see people dying, we see protests, now we're fear mongering. All these things are happening. It's another fear tactic, but this one with the virus, they're trying to push needles inside of your skin and get to your blood. That's my whole issue with it. That's why I'm like, no. I'm not about that at all. Remember this. There's a dude right here by the name of Rudolf, what is his name? Rudolf Steiner. And Rudolf Steiner said this, all right? Take it with a grain of salt, believe it if you want or whatever. Only so many people are going to listen. So the ones that got ears, let them listen. So Rudolf Steiner made this very clear. And he said this, let me pull the screen back. He says, eliminate the soul with medicine. All right. Eliminate the soul with medicine. In the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine under the pretext of a healthy point of view. There will be a vaccine by which the human body will be treated as soon as possible directly at birth, so that the human being cannot develop the thought of existence of soul and spirit. The materialistic doctors will be entrusted the task of removing the soul of humanity. As today, people are vaccinated against this disease or that disease. So in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that people, thanks to this vaccination, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. I'm going to read that again. So in the future, children will be vaccinated with a substance that can be produced precisely in such a way that the people, thanks to this vaccination, will be immune to being subjected to the madness of spiritual life. They call spiritual life madness. He would be extremely smart, but he would not develop a conscience. And that is the true goal of some materialistic circles. Don't we see that today? With such a vaccine, you can easily make the etheric body loose in the physical body. Once the etheric body is detached, the relationship between the universe and the etheric body will become extremely unstable, and the man will become an automaton. For the physical body of man must be polished on this earth by spiritual will. So the vaccine becomes a kind of a harmonic force. A man can no longer get rid of a given materialistic feeling. He becomes materialistic of constitution and can no longer rise to the spiritual. Keep that in mind whenever you are being fearmonger, to have something probe into your body and reach your blood. It gets deeper than this. So I'm going to keep going because, like I said, I don't got much time today. So let's run to the next thing and see exactly what this is. So as they go deeper and deeper and deeper, they will keep trying to probe inside of your body, and they're not going to stop. They're going to keep pushing. It's up to you to find a cause to die for at the end of the day, or to believe in, I would say. Die for, believe in, you pick one. Here it goes right here. So let's see what we got next. Toxins. Let's see what we got here. So we have this dude right here. Not this dude, but we have this right here. And it says a study out of Sweden shows that the Pfizer vaccine reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome. Let's see exactly how this works. So I just want to give you a friendly reminder of what not to forget. They said that it couldn't change your DNA, and Sweden just proved it does. So let's see if this is true or if this is false. Let's go ahead and look into this.
A little bit about the study that just came out of Sweden that is just so alarming.
The news is buzzing out of Lund University, Malmö, Sweden. Marcus Alden is the first author. The first demonstration in a human hepatic or liver cell line that the Pfizer vaccine, in fact, reverse transcribes and installs DNA into the human genome.
Wow. And so in simple terms, what does that mean, Dr. Bartlett?
Thank you for making it simple. So basically, there's an enzyme that can take that messenger RNA vaccine information and put it into the DNA of the person, into their DNA. And we were told that could not happen. So this is in a lab, but it's showing that you remember the vaccine is messenger RNA.
Yeah.
And we were told that that messenger RNA could not go into your DNA, but this is showing that in a lab it can.
And so what happens when it does, Dr. Cole?
Well, can I answer slightly different than your question?
Yeah.
So one of the fun things about the last couple of years being a doctor and lawyer is this is a very interesting opportunity, and I think we're going to be bringing another lawsuit because there's actually federal law that you cannot discriminate against people for genetic discriminations. I forgot the acronym. I think it's GINA, G-I-N-A. GINA, right? So this now opens the door to saying that if you're not allowing somebody in who chose not to get the shot, that you're actually engaging in genetic discrimination. So I think there's this Sweden study, I think, opens the door to a new type of lawsuit.
If you're pregnant and you have this done, can that then affect your baby?
Yes, this is the alarming finding. The CDC says on its website very explicitly, this will not change your DNA. The paper that came out of Sweden, now there'll be many more to confirm it. And
a little bit about.
So it can go to the point where it can alter the DNA and get to your children. It can get to your baby. It can get to a pregnant woman's child, and it keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. Now they had another finding that another woman had actually went across, and she had spoke on this, and they had talked about the genetic altering as well, because it shows right here. It says that a bombshell study was found that genetic fingerprint of the strong flu 19 vaccine embedded in the DNA of a 31-year-old cancer patient, the first direct proof that mRNA fragments can integrate into the human genome. Findings shattered years of assurance from big pharma and health officials who swore the shots could never alter DNA. Researchers prescribed a perfect storm. Tumor suppressing genes switched off, DNA repair mechanisms broken, and cancer driving pathways ignited. The woman, once healthy, developed stage 4 bladder cancer within a year of 3 Moderna doses. Genetic fragments in her tumor matches a vaccine sequence with odds of 1 in a trillion. And it warned the world that cannot afford to ignore that what what may point to turbo cancer, strokes, and even inherited DNA damage. The implications are staggering. So what I want you to understand is that your DNA is your DNA. They're trying to tamper with DNA. They're trying to go into your DNA and tamper your DNA. Anytime there's a virus or a scare of a global thing or a global thing where they try to scare you with the fear of something in order for you to get over this fear, you take a vaccine. That's their way of getting into your bloodstream. That's their way of getting to you, to touch you, to inject you with something because you complied with fear. Keep that in mind. Always remember, fasting is a very powerful thing. You should do it. But always remember when you hear this stuff, and plus we're right around the corner from an election, a midterm elections. Always remember this. These things just working. It's the same playbook. It doesn't stop. It keeps going over and over. They're always going to run fear through your body. We got fear of a civil war going to happen in America. We got fear of on one party, ISIS trying to destroy and kidnap people and disappear people. And you got fear of people on TikTok or arming up and buying like war things to fight against ICE. And, we got fear of, people committing fraud all over the place. And Islam is trying to take, it's too much different fears going on at once. And then to add another fear on top of it is another tactic that they can use as an angle going into an election because, people get scared and they want somebody to do something about it, but they never look at the person in the mirror that can actually change this shit. You know what I mean? But understand that there's two evil forces at play. There's an evil force at play on both sides, which is what this dude was telling you about right here. He said it right here. We will eliminate the soul with medicine. Always remember, you don't have to believe in it, but all because you don't believe in it don't mean that the evil don't believe in you. Just keep that in mind. But right here, we're going to look at this right here, and we're going to see what they were speaking on this particular thing right here, where they spoke on the study that focused on the 31-year-old female who developed rapid stages of bladder cancer. Now, my thing is I want you to pay attention of the DNA altering. That's the main thing. Pay attention. She's going to mention about the genetic fingerprint of your DNA being altered, and it can be passed down to your children down the line. I'm gonna let her talk. It's a quick little clip.
A US government database. So the Pfizer vaccine was identified as the closest match, the authors said. According to the study, the odds of such a fragment being a 100% match with a sequence contained within the vaccines are approximately 1 in a trillion. It should set off alarm bells that this match occurred amid widespread cell mutation in such a rare and aggressive cancer, Holscher said. DNA contamination can lead to adverse health effects, including multiple cancers and the potential onset of turbo cancer, chronic inflammation, and a higher risk of blood clots, strokes, and sudden death. DNA contaminants may also be passed on to children. Holscher said, for years, regulators insisted integration was impossible. Our study is the first direct molecular evidence of vaccine-derived DNA embedded into the human genome, and it wasn't a random event. It occurred alongside evidence of cancer-driving mutations and genetic chaos. According to the study, the 31-year-old patient was selected because of her rare diagnosis. Bladder cancer is predominantly a disease of older adults, and its occurrence in young women is exceptionally uncommon. When it does occur, it is typically aggressive and carries an unfavorable prognosis, the preprint states. Study co-author John A. Catanzaro, a naturopathic doctor and CEO and co-founder of Neo7 Bioscience, said the average age of patients with a bladder cancer diagnosis is 73. Fewer than 2% of cases occur in people under 40. In women under 35, it is extraordinarily uncommon, estimated at well below 0.5% of all diagnoses.
So just keep this in mind. Even though they're speaking on a strong flu 19, just think of the whole simple fact that vaccines, they're trying to get into your bloodstream, and they're coming out and they're finding out on the hindsight 2020 of the strong flu situation that people were having their DNA and their DNA structure altered. It's altering people's DNA, and it can go down to the children. It can go down and down and down and down to kids and kids and kids and kids and families. That's one of the main things. You don't want this to get into your bloodstream because it can go down to all of your kids, to the rest of your generation and your lineage. So all of this stuff starts with you. All of this starts with you. All of this goes down and down and down, and it ends up with you. Let me see if I can find this other one for you real quick. So we have this one right here. This lady here, she spoke on this a long time ago, and she caught hell. This is Judy Makovich. Forgive me if I butchered her name, but she had a situation and she went through hell and back because they tried to destroy this woman for the stuff that she was saying. She had a documentary that came out shortly after the strong flu came out, and it was up for about a few days, but then they took that down. And if you go back and find this documentary about her or what she spoke about, she basically made it very clear that they tried to suppress her and keep her quiet for what she was saying, and she went through hell and back. And you have to wonder, like, what is it that she's saying so much that they destroyed her life over? But I'm gonna go ahead and let her speak. She has a quick 1.5-minute clip. Just remember, the reason why I'm showing you this is just to give you a friendly reminder to not forget that if they're trying to strike fear in you with some kind of virus and they try to add a vaccine to it to get into your bloodline and your bloodstream, just remember that they've came to terms and found out that this stuff can alter your DNA, and it can go down to your children when you're pregnant, whether you're male or female. So if you're a woman and having kids and your DNA gets altered, you pass to your kids. If you're a man, you get a woman pregnant, a woman has your kid, it can pass down to the children as well. Even with the man having it can go both ways. Doesn't matter who. But I'm gonna go ahead and let this lady talk right here, and she's gonna speak on the situation that happened back with the strong flu 19. But this is Judy Makovitz. But here we go. Let me let her talk. Here we go.
The biggest issue I've learned over my 40-year career, it's not really fighting the viruses and learning how to treat the viruses. It's fighting a system that is determined to cover up and persecute anyone who reveals the truth behind. We've done this kind of work for now 40 years for me. The sequence analysis and comparison of the virus of the SARS-2 COVID-19 apparently has genes that come from other human and other species, including some envelope, the GP41 from HIV. I graduated from the University of Virginia in 1980. My first job was to go to the National Cancer Institute, which was housed at Fort Detrick, Maryland, the same place that houses the USAMRIID, U.S. Army Research Institute on Infectious Disease, the biosafety level 4 facility, equivalent of the Wuhan facility. And so at these facilities, it's where investigators who I went in there myself, you can see the breakdowns in safety, and it's everywhere. That's why I have no doubt the Chinese biosafety level 4 was just as lacking in safety, in rigor. You can argue that they don't care. Gene apparently has genes that come from other human and other species, including some envelope, the GP41 from HIV.
So she mentioned that some of the vaccines that was in the strong flu 19 had stuff that came from was a G41 of HIV. So they're putting all this stuff in here, but Lord and behold, they're able to tell you that you can have a undetected viral load of HIV. Just keep in mind, just this whole point of me even doing this stream, just keep in mind that at the end of the day, all of this is they're trying to get to your DNA. They're trying to tamper with your blood. They're trying to get inside of you to tamper with your genetic with your genetic modifications. They're trying to modify your DNA. It's a story as old as time. The whole premise of the Bible, the purpose of the Bible was bloodline. That was a point of the Bible. If you ever read it, if you ever understood the story, you ever wonder why certain people in the story were so prominent and important, it's the bloodline that they were carrying the whole way through. That's what it was about. Main thing. And then there was also an evil bloodline that was on the opposite spectrum that was going on as well. That's what you have. You have two bloodlines happening. You have a good bloodline, you got an evil bloodline. One bloodline's carrying God's will, the other bloodline's carrying Satan's will. They're just going at it the whole time. That's what this whole thing is about. So pay attention. Don't let them get into your DNA and inject you with stuff with all over fear. Don't let them induce you with fear. And I only say this because a Nipah virus right around the corner, midterm elections is coming up and all this stuff. It's just like right on time, you know, I mean, 6 months out or 10 months out, whatever the case may be, enough time to add up all these different things that we're seeing. And it's like you have one thing happen, you get rid of it, you do another one, you get rid of it, you do another one. You just keep adding all these fear-mongering things. Just remember that fear is one of your lowest frequencies. You shouldn't be a fearful person regardless, but fear is a low frequency. Don't have a low frequency. We have another lady right here. She's going to talk about that she's glad that she's never took the test. And she said that the tests were really what they were really for, and it wasn't testing for a quote-unquote virus. Let's see what she has to say about being tested and realizing that the tests are not for virus. So here we go. This lady right here, this is Dr. Lorianne Day. Here we go.
I believe that this mRNA vaccine is going to genetically modify?
Yes, it will. The mRNA will actually take a piece of your DNA out. It will replace it with a synthetic one and a synthetic piece. So, you know, who knows what they're going to modify about you. But that also makes you patentable.
That's right.
They can own you. And let me tell you, they've already started the vaccinations. They've already started them. They started them a long time ago because the test vaccinates you. The article right here in front of me, and here's what it says. Yes, they can vaccinate us through the nasal test swabs and target the brain. Now, here's the thing. As a doctor,
Did you hear what she said? She said that they can test you through the nasal. I'm gonna have her say it again. Listen.
Test swabs and target the brain. Now,
the test swab can target the brain. The test swab can target the brain. Now, remember what they just said about this right here? It says the Nipah can cause encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the brain. But she said that the test swab can go through the nasal test swab and target the brain. So she's saying that the test swabs target the brain, and they're saying that this right here, the Nipah virus, can cause severe encephalitis, whatever this word is, which is an inflammation of the brain. You see what I'm saying? They were already saying back then that the test swabs were going to target the brain, and this right here, this Nipah virus causes encephalitis, which is an inflammation of the brain. So it's like, are you getting it or are they giving it? Which one is it? You know what I mean? Like, which one is it? Are you getting the Nipah virus or are they giving it to you? You know what I mean? And could it be part two to the people who did the first rounds? Now this time around, they're like, all right, we amped up we amped it up, so now we can, you know, intensify the effect for people that got boosters 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You know, it's just pay attention. Anything is getting into your bloodstream, anything getting into your blood inside of your body should be a huge no when it's based off of fear. If you don't want to do it, then you should be like, I don't want it. But you know, midterm elections, playbook, all this stuff happens around the same time. But let's let her finish. Here we go. Here she go.
Test swabs and target the brain. Now here's the thing. As a doctor, I said, this is crazy because you see, you're wearing a mask to cover now they would hate it. They would not allow you into a store if you just wear a mask over your nose. You got to wear it over your mouth. Because supposedly the COVID-19 is in your saliva. Well, if it's in your saliva, then all they have to do is swab the inside of your mouth like they do for a DNA test. But no, they take these long Q-tips and they stick them all the way back almost into your brain. They stick them back to the back of the nasal sinuses and then they twist them. All right, here's what they're doing. First of all, there is a very thin plate of bone that covers the brain between the brain and the nasal sinus, and it's called the cribriform plate. And every doctor knows about the cribriform plate. All right, now the cribriform plate has some openings in it where olfactory nerves from the nose go through that plate into the brain, and bone that this kind of bone in the cribriform plate is porous anyway. So substances can go through it. So when they take that swab and they put it back there and twist it, what they're doing is depositing things back there. This, you can't see this, but this shows that they have nanoparticles that are actually on the ends of the Q-tips that they're putting in there that can get into your brain. They can be hooked up to the cloud. So they are already vaccinating you with the test. When you go to get tested, you are actually being vaccinated and implanted with nanoparticles.
And what does Nipah virus do? Let's see. The Nipah can cause Nipah, whatever it's called, can cause encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain. But the illnesses we worried most about is neurological symptoms. You don't say. You don't say. Isn't that interesting? Maybe it took some time for it to play out. She said that even they could patent you with this. What she say back here? She said that they can use this and they'll patent you with this. Here we go. Let me run it back one more time.
I believe that this mRNA vaccine is going to genetically modify.
Yes, it will. The mRNA will actually take a piece of your DNA out. It will replace it with a synthetic one and a synthetic piece. So, who knows what they're going to modify about you. But that also makes you patentable.
That also makes you patentable. What'd she say? They can put in synthetic DNA or something that'll synthetically be able to go into your DNA. So if it's synthetic, what does synthetic mean? Fake. Fake. Synthetic is fake. What is artificial intelligence? Fake intelligence. Synthetic is fake. Remember, this is what this guy said. You can go look him up yourself. Rudolf Steiner. In the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine. What the hell they know about a soul, and why would you want to eliminate it with medicine? How do you get medicine inside of people? Think about it. Think about it. How do you get medicine inside of people? Think about it. We got another lady here. I'm going to run her through this gamble real quick because I'm running through these really quick because I do not want to do a live stream today, but we got to get this out here real quick. Lady said here she was a sonographer, and she says she was the lady who read ultrasounds. Let's see what she says about ultrasounds real quick. Let's run this lady up here real quick and see what she says about ultrasounds. Here we go.
For 40 years. And
That's the person who
reads ultrasounds.
Oh.
Yeah, so she can read ultrasounds and she can tell the mother, oh, you got Pfizer, you got Moderna. And if they're like, well, no, I didn't get the vaccine. Well, the placenta has these characteristics of this shot, and the dad is responsible for the placenta health. And so the placenta will carry dad's DNA. So if it's there, it's from dad. So even if the mother didn't receive the shot, but the dad did, it still will affect the baby.
That's true? That's
Yes.
not a myth?
No.
Because that was a joke a few years ago. I'm selling my sperm for $100.
Yeah, that's for real. If you're a pure
Unvaccinated
blood,
sperm.
it's probably up there in price, yes.
Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what she said? The dude was like, I thought that was a joke. That was a joke about having unvaccinated sperm. And she said, listen to the word that she said. Listen.
Yes.
Not a myth?
No.
Because that was a joke a few years ago. I'm selling my sperm for $100.
Yeah, that's for real. If you're a pure
Unvaccinated
blood.
sperm.
She said, if you're pure blood, that is if you're pure blood. That's the whole thing. If you're pure blood. And it was a joke going on about having unvaccinated sperm. Think about this, man. All this shit makes sense. It all ties up. It's not a joke. They really, if you're pure, everything is about your blood. Everything is about your bloodline. Everything. And anytime they trying to scare you or whatever, and trying to get into your if they're trying to scare you with a vaccine, they're trying to get inside of you. And You know, they can't do it all at once because then it's going to cause a fight, a chaos, and all that stuff. So it has to be a way to get you to comply. Now, we're going to go to the World Economic Forum. So we're going to listen to the people on the World Economic Forum, and let's hear what this lady has to say, all right? This lady's going to speak on the World Economic Forum, and she's going to speak on she cannot hide away from human population growth. But let's see what she says about human population growth. Let's see what this old lady, old-ass lady, has to say at the World Economic Forum about population growth. Let's just hear what she has to say real quick.
We need to eat less meat. We need to stop land being used for cattle and growing grain for the billions of animals that we keep in our intensive farms. And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth because, you know, it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, bro, but she is on her way out the door. The fuck she care about population for? She's on her way out the door, bro. She talking about, hey, we need to reduce the population. I'm like, ma'am, excuse me, you've already had your turn on this earth. Get the hell out of here. They still gonna push their agenda even though they're leaving this earth. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the movie, and like me personally, I think a lot into things. Kind of like the movie Get Out. You ever seen the movie Get Out? If you don't know about the movie Get Out, run it through you the quick nutshell. Movie Get Out was about a white family who would where the daughter would basically date or fall in love with black people. Hold on one second. Where the white daughter, she would go out and find like genetically gifted black men, athletes, whatever you were. And basically what ends up happening is they would go in, she would date the dude, bring him to meet their family, pretend like she didn't know what was going on. They would run him through this weird gamut. They were basically trying to see like who was going to get him. Anyway, they would come in, a group of friends or a group of people would come over. They would have a silent auction, and the silent auction was trying to figure out who was going to get the black dude because they wanted his genetics. Well, what ends up happening is you find out that later on in the movie, they would basically take him, and whoever won the auction, they would be the one to win the silent auction. They would take their consciousness and instill their consciousness into his body, and he would be in the same body, but his consciousness would be down. So he would no longer be in control of the body that he's in, but he would be, but somebody else will be dominant in his consciousness. So this person over here was in the consciousness of this black man's body, and they now have a new body to dwell in with their consciousness. So their consciousness is in a new, formerly new and improved body. So now that they can continue to live on in a new body with the same consciousness that they had previously. So for example, I will give you a quick rundown. So like this guy will be able to implant his consciousness into me. So now he is in my body. So his existence, his knowledge has continued on, but now he's in my body now. And then I would still be in my body with him, but he would be controlling it, and there's nothing I could do about it, which is a crazy, crazy, crazy way to look at things. But anyway, and this is the last video I'm going to show. This guy is going to speak on population, about the population of the world. Let's see what he has to say about the population of the world. First lady was from the World Economic Forum. Let's see what this gentleman has to say about the world population.
We are so far, globally, we are so far above the population and the consumption levels which can be supported by this planet that I know in one way or another it's going to come back down. So I don't hope to avoid that. I hope that it can occur in a civil way, and I mean civil in a special way, peaceful. Peace doesn't mean that everybody's happy, but it means that conflict isn't solved through violence, through force, but rather in other ways. And so that's what I hope for. That we can, I mean, the planet can support something like 1 billion people, maybe 2 billion, depending on how much liberty and how much material consumption you want to have. If you want more liberty and more consumption, you have to have fewer people. And conversely, you can have more people. I mean, we could even have 8 or 9 billion probably if we have a very strong dictatorship, which is smart. That's, unfortunately, you never have smart dictatorships. They're always stupid. So, but if you had a smart dictatorship and a low standard of living, you can have it. But we want to have freedom and we want to have a high sentence. So we're going to have 1 billion people. And we're now at 7, so we have to get back down. I hope that this can be slow, relatively slow, and that it can be done in a way which is relatively equal, so that people share the experience and you don't have a few rich, trying to force everybody else to deal with it. So those are my hopes. I mean, these are pretty pessimistic hopes, but I mean, that's what lies ahead.
So that's what lies ahead. Now, ask yourself this question. Now, with what he was saying, does any of it seem to, he said he hopes to go slow. He wants to bring it down to 1 billion, 2 billion. And the other lady says she wants the population to go down to what it was 500 years ago, which I don't know what that was, but I guess I could find out through a quick Google search. But he's saying bring it down to 1 or 2 billion. And when they say they or us or we, just understand that you ain't a part of that conversation. You ain't the we, you ain't the us. And if you're able to do what this lady was saying, remember this lady, where is she? This lady right here, when she spoke about them putting nanoparticles and stuff like that inside of your brain, and it's becoming a neural, it gets into your brain and becomes like a neural thing, and you become patentable. Now, if you become patentable or whatever, and able to get these nanoparticles inside of your brain and do all these things at some point, don't you think that they're able to dictate at some point in time, if they're able to put synthetic DNA and alter your DNA and put synthetic stuff in, mix it in with your DNA and change your DNA from natural to artificial, at some point they'll be able to control it, so therefore they can keep a population low over time, so it never reaches over a certain point anymore. They can dictate how long it goes, because remember, the other lady said that whenever it gets into the blood, or whenever it gets into the body, either the dad or the mom, it doesn't matter who has it, it can go and pass on to the offspring. So forever, a perpetual cycle of what they put in back then will stay in forever up until, however long they keep it going on for. So at all times, they'll have control over the population as it goes down. You constantly keep a control on population because you're able to know what is inside of someone's body if you have them patent. If you got something patent and you have little bitty nanoparticles inside of people, you have them. And then when daddy has sex with mama, or when they have intercourse, if mama has it and daddy doesn't, it passes down to the baby. If daddy has it and mama does it, it passes down to the baby. So regardless, either way it goes, whatever they put inside will automatically pass down to the child. So therefore, it perpetuates a longevity of whatever it is that they're trying to do, and you can keep that population low at all times. Because as far as technology goes, it's going to get better and better and better and better. As far as people goes, they're going to get dumber and dumber and dumber and dumber. You know what I mean? So it's going in their direction as far as people are going to be stupider and technology is going to get better, which means that they can crack down on what it is that they want to get done, because people are not going to think. People are not going to be educated. People won't use their brain. People don't want to read. They'd rather have somebody or something read to them as opposed to read to themselves. And people will keep on taking like medicine and medications. Prime example, people who constantly use therapy, they never get treated. They never get cured. They constantly stay treated on medications. They constantly stay on medications forever and induce themselves with medications and alcohol 10, 20, 30 years of their life. And it's like, when did you stop? Well, there's no reason to stop. Why? Because in the future, we will eliminate the soul with medicine. So you got a bunch of soulless people walking around. It's just what it is. And we all know that the path to heaven is narrow and few will find it, but the gateway to hell will be wide and narrow and many will go through it. It all lines up. It all makes sense. It makes perfect sense when you look at it. it makes perfect sense. And last video I'm going to show you for today, which is this dude right here. He explains how life is in whatchamacallit, wait, not you. I'm gonna put you on pause because you're already talking. This dude right here is gonna break down. This guy warned about this Chinese guy. Somebody says Chinese man warns people about digital ID. Well, let's see what this man talks about when it comes to digital ID in China and see how long this has been going on for, and is it here or headed to a country near you? Take it away, sir.
If you go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account.
Now, real quick, I hate to cut him off. He's saying they had facial recognition back then. Right now, if you look at this protest thing that's going on with ICE and the crazy liberals that's fighting, I call it a WWE show. That's what I call it. I say it's the WWE because they go out into the ring, put on the show, but behind closed doors, they probably high-fiving each other. They're using facial recognition already. They're using that to use all this recording of chaos and stuff and cameras and stuff like that. They're using the facial recognition to get people out there to utilize this technology, this AI technology. This is already happening. It's a perfect excuse to implement it. It's kind of smart when you create a chaotic situation out of protest to implement this new AI system, and you got the liberals out there losing their damn minds, and you're paying them to go out there and basically fall victim to AI facial recognition. But I digress. Let's let him continue. Here we go.
They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay, so you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kid's lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here. And if this gets implemented anywhere, especially in a Western nation, it's not going away. Israel is already talking about the fourth shot. Then they're going to be going to herpes, and they're going to ask if you're gay. They're going to be asking if you ate 3 pizzas this week because it's unhealthy. If you buy certain books in certain countries, your country doesn't like you. You'll lose points in the social credit score system. So this is already the reality of the world in certain places, and we need to be aware of that if we don't want that or if we do. And to be perfectly honest, anybody who wants this vaccine passport, it's a misnomer.
Anybody who wants this vaccine passport is a misnomer. They're trying to get to your blood and onto your DNA. They're trying to get the vaccine passports, and they're trying to get a social credit score. And if it's a cashless society, any ticket you get is immediately getting deducted out of your account before you go to court, because there's no need for court when they accuse you of being guilty already, because things are based off your credit score and not your bank account.
Total control. Everything you do or don't do will be calculated to the point where if they can detect your GPS signal, if you have a phone on you, they can detect who you're hanging out with. Oh, you're hanging out with somebody that said something bad 9 years ago on Weibo, okay, like a Chinese equivalent to Facebook or something like that, right? Oh, you lose 2 points. Oh, you bought Japanese books, you lose 5 points because you don't like Japan. This is what is going to come here because it's already there.
And we're doing that a little bit with contact tracing for COVID, aren't we? So that they can see where you're at and who you're with.
The simple reality is that the technology that CSIS has and all these big tech corporations, they already know where you are. It's just that they don't want to shock the system too much and admit that they have it. Edward Snowden revealed all this back in 2013. He fled to Hong Kong. They wouldn't keep him there, so now he's in Russia. Yeah. But the NSA has all of your information. They know your Google searches from like February 9th, 2004 in a bunker in Colorado.
Help me, Rhonda.
Right? They have all this information. So, but they don't, like in the US, they have the Fourth Amendment. They're not supposed to track you forever.
Yeah, that's basically it in a nutshell. So when you have this right here being implemented and shoved down your throat and have these people trying to hit you with this new virus of what this new Nipah virus is and what you need to know. What do we need to know, CNN, about Nipah virus? Let's see. Nipah virus. The World Health Organization reported 2 cases of this rare virus. Let's get this off the screen. In eastern India state on Thursday. The virus, called Nipah, kills more than half of the people it infects. Hold on. The World Health Organization reported 2 cases of a rare virus in eastern India, in eastern Indian state on Thursday. The virus called Nipah, okay, they named it Nipah, it wasn't called Nipah, kills more than half of the people it infects. You reported 2 cases and it kills more than half of the people it infects? Nipah virus, which was named after the village in Malaysia where the first known patient lived, is part of the same family of viruses as measles. Of course it is. Despite that, it's not as infectious as measles, but it's significantly more deadly. But you only have 2 reported cases, and you named it Nipah, but it kills more than half the people it infects out of 2 cases, so you have a 50%. I digress. How is it transmitted? It's a zootonic virus, meaning it can be transmitted from animals to humans. Of course, so all you dog lovers out there, get ready. Most commonly, that happens through direct contact with an infected pig or bat. Right, so pork will be off of the market here pretty soon. Eating fruits or fruit products such as raw date palm juice contaminated with urine or saliva from infected fruit bats also contributes to the spread. It can also spread directly from person to person. Transmission, however, occurs through very close contact with infected individuals. So get ready for distance, people. What are the signs? It can take 4 to 14 days for symptoms to appear. Of course it does. After a person is infected. And according to the WHO, World Health Organization, asymptomatic cases are rare. The first signs of infection are nonspecific and include flu-like symptoms. Of course it does, like a fever, headache, muscle pains, vomiting, and sore throat. Muscle pain? Well, there goes your gym membership. Anybody who goes to the gym and have sore muscles, well, hey, you might have a virus, so you can't go to the gym. Oh, you got a headache? You might have it. Oh, you're throwing up? It's not food poisoning. You're not allergic to anything. You got Nipah. Oh, you got a sore throat? Yeah, school just started. You might have Nipah. Oh my goodness. In about 2/3 of patients, the disease rapidly progresses. In what 2/3 of patients though? In about 2/3 of patients. But look, right here. They just said, right here. They just said 2 cases of a rare virus in eastern Indian state on Thursday kills more than half of the people in effect. She only got 2 cases. All right, so here we go. I lost my spot. Where is it? Right here. The first signs of infections in about 2/3 of patients, the disease rapidly progresses, and coma can strike within 5 to 7 days. Why? Because it's a neurological thing. Some infections also lead to respiratory symptoms like cough and abnormal chest x-rays. Jesus. More patients show changes in the fluid that surrounds the brain, commonly seen in other viral brain infections. Changes caused by tissue death can be seen on brain imaging, and electrical activity of the brain predicts the severity of the disease. How is it dangerous? Well, the virus is classified by the CDC as a biosafety level 4, the highest category, oh gosh, with the most dangerous pathogens like Ebola, and it has potentials to serve as an agent of bioterrorism. Of course it does. Yes, it does. There have been only a few monkey outbreaks. Nipah is considered a public health threat because of high case fatality rate, potential for human-to-human transmission, capacity to evolve outbreaks, and lack approved vaccines or treatments. Oh my gosh, they have a lack of approved vaccine and treatments. Well, we know that they're good at giving us good vaccines, so we're gonna bet on them to give us vaccines that don't alter our DNA. In severe cases, the virus can attack parts of the brain that control basic life functions like eye movement, heart rate, blood pressure, causing permanent damage. And those who survive often experience fatigue and changes of how the nervous system works. These effects often persist for years. Sounds like the Strong Flu 19 revamped. Strong Flu 19 has been revamped, and it has stronger effects, but it's kind of interesting that when you find out that what the viruses were doing when they were sticking that stuff, what is it called? When they were sticking the things up your nose to test you for Strong Flu 19s, now this thing that comes out Nipah is on the back end has neurological brain damaging effects. So I wonder if all the people who, you know what, I'm not going to say it. We're just going to have to wait and see in the future. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think that might be it. Let me check to see if I have anything else I have to run by you real quick before we get up out of here. Do I have anything else? No, but here's one last thing before we go. Just your friendly... Oh, yeah, two more things, actually. Two more things. I'm going to run two more things by you. Really, three. Let's see. Just a friendly reminder. Here's your World Economic Forum. BlackRock CEO explains how good the real goal of depopulation is. So let me just give you a friendly reminder real quick before we go, because that's what this show is for, a friendly reminder. So this is what they're doing in the World Economic Forums, and when they say we and us, they are not talking about you. And I'm going to show you who they're talking about after this here in a second. I'm going to show you who the we and us are.
I could argue in the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations. Okay, that's something that most people never talked about. You know, we always used to think shrinking population is a cause for negative growth. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, shrinking unemployment, shrinking demographics, these countries will rapidly develop robotics and AI and technology. And if the promise, I didn't say it's going to happen, but if the promise of all that transforms productivity, which most of us think it will, we'll be able to elevate the standard of living of countries and the standard of living of individuals, even with shrinking populations. And
as long as they can shrink the population, they will elevate the standard of living. That's all you need to know. They're going to shrink the population to elevate the standard of living. And in case you need a reminder, this is just let her reiterate it. They're at the same place. Here's the same conversation. Let her run it by you.
We need to eat less meat. We need to stop land being used for cattle and growing grain for the billions of animals that we keep in our intensive farms. And then finally, we cannot hide away from human population growth, because it underlies so many of the other problems. All these things we talk about wouldn't be a problem if there was the size of population that there was 500 years ago.
Just remember we, okay? We, the standard of living will be better for we, us, we. And in case you don't understand what all this means and where they're getting all of this from, this is a story as old as time. And this thing no longer exists. But this thing is called the Georgia Guidestones. Some of you may know, some of you may not know. Let me give you an understanding. This is the Georgia Guidestones. And these things were torn down. They were up for a good amount, a substantial amount of time. These are the Georgia Guidestones. They were in Georgia. Was a granite monument that stood in Elbert County, Georgia, United States from 1980 to 2022. 19 feet 3 inches tall and made from 6 granite slabs weighing a total of 237,000 plus pounds. Now, let me show you what was written on these Georgia Guidestones in case you don't know. This is what the inscription read. It said, maintained humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Guide reproduction wisely. How do you guide reproduction? I just told you in this whole show. Guide reproduction wisely by improving fitness and diversity. Unite humanity with a living new language. Rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. A world court. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. Balance personal rights with social duties. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Population under 500 million to leave room for nature. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's show. Hopefully you learned something on this Saturday stream that I did. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Take care. Make sure you be safe out there. If you're out here having sex and fornicating, wear a condom. If you're married, take care of your spouse. Don't do the partners thing. Partners are for Satanists. Spouse are for a covenant people, in my humble opinion. But with that being said, y'all have a good weekend. Take care of yourself. Raise your kids. Be humble. But love each other. Live in harmony. And we'll see y'all on Monday. Take care. Love you. Peace.
Thank you for watching D. Elliott Fitness Livestream. Goodbye.
I'd rather be in the studio than in jail or on the street. Talking the wrong, coming off your teeth. Got that one hit to quit and knock you off your feet. It's big on, baby, I'm out some meat. Pockets chunky like cottage cheese. Real nigga, I just gotta be. Smoking weed that don't gotta see. Used to be a hustler prodigy. I love when people say they proud of me. I'm eating good, smoking broccoli. Taking over blocks like Monopoly. Only fuck the ones that's my policy. Most of these hoes trying to cause a scene. Like niggas mad they not on the team. See, I got bread, then bought a dream. The game on like, and I got the keys like Jay. My fame won't stop, but the only thing I'm chasing. The game on like, and I got